This is the Dog Savant Podcast with your host, Brett Endies.
Hello and welcome to the Dog Savant Podcast. This is episode 47. I'm Brett Endies. I'm your host. I am a professional dog trainer based here in Los Angeles. I've been doing what I do for a good 20 plus years, and I created this podcast to be able to share the accumulated dog training knowledge and experience that helps dog owners in the real world to help you, a dog owner who may be struggling with dog problems, obedience issues, or you just want to be able to understand your dog better. On the show, we cover topics related to dog behavior, dog training, dog care, philosophy, a little politics, a little hunting, or anything else in between. Thank you so much to everyone who's been listening for the feedback. It really keeps me going. If you're new, welcome to the show. Please, if anyone new or old listeners, I need you to share, rate, review this podcast on iTunes and anywhere else. This is what keeps this going. And to be quite frank, it gives me a little boost. I like seeing people supporting the show. It doesn't have to be a financial support, just giving me a good word, sharing your questions, letting me know how this, applying some of the information or some of the other content I put out there has helped you and your dog. I just recently got a great email from someone who's really been using this to complement the work that she's doing with her local trainer, and I think that's great. I don't have a monopoly on dog behavior knowledge. It's just that I have a good knack for what's really going on in the human-dog relationship, and I like to talk about it as it is instead of this illusion that we've created in society of what dogs aren't, even though that's what people are led to believe they are. Does that make sense? Hope so. But again, thank you. Please support this show. Share, follow me on social media at the Dog Savant. You can go on my website, dogtrainingla.com, and you can support me on Patreon. If you do want to make a financial contribution, that'll always help create more episodes, more content, and of course, a better quality show. You can go on patreon.com/the Dog Savant, THEDOGSAV, like Victor, ANT. Whew. Okay, we got some business out of the way. So what are we going to talk about today? Let's see. So there's something I've been always wanting to elaborate on, give my 2 cents. There's a popular modality of training called a bonker. And really what it is, I brought it up in the dog and on my podcast before, but I haven't really gotten too much detail. It's more or less some kind of, whether it be a foam noodle. I usually use a towel, they'll rubber band it up into like a little, kind of like a little bat type of thing. And it's really used very simply. Back when I was learning how to be a dog trainer, the guy who taught me used a similar version where if the dog jumps up, you either give it a knee or you bop it on the nose or you give it a strong correction with the leash, and that'll kind of, teach it a consequence for its actions. And yeah, it works. A lot of things can work. If I touch a hot stove, it'll burn me and teach a consequence. But if I have some kind of weird impulse that drives me to hot items, a better way to approach it is to find out what that weird impulse is and work that through at the root cause instead of waiting for me to always touch the stove and it's already 10 steps in progression. That's what I find the problem of thinking is when it comes to bonkers. And I would, I guess I could recommend it to clients who want a quick fix, but it really doesn't do much more than just teach the dog not to do a behavior, but that you almost can see it. The dogs are like at a threshold of anxiety instead of learning to just be calmer, because usually bonker is going to be to discourage jumping, pushy behaviors. Dogs are getting too in people's personal space. It really is just going to teach a dog that they have a limit, but that mindset that creates it can still be there, versus teaching a dog to have more of a mindful state when these triggers are happening. I've explained this many times. Simple fixes: if a dog jumps on people every time they come to the door, put your dog on a leash, put them on a hard sit preemptively, warm them up, get them focused, and then when the door opens, they're going to sit. And even if they do go to get up, now you redirect them into a sit. You don't just punish them. You actually set the context of, I need you to sit because this is what happened before the trigger created that startle response, which is all reactions are in dogs: jumping, barking, aggression. It's an over extreme startle response that turns into a coping mechanism to handle that particular event or environment that the dog is feeling independent from human leadership and guidance from. So it's really better to see a root cause of things and deal with it. Now, why am I taking time on my podcast to explain this? Quite frankly, I don't have time to go back and forth with people on social media. I really don't have the energy and I don't have the patience. I've been through this too much, and anytime I speak up about anything like this, the cult of people who follow the gentleman who created the bonker, they jump in and there's no winning. So I'd rather keep it to my audience for people who can see reason, because anyone who thinks rationally and understands how both human and dog psychology works understands that there's a driving force to motivate a dog to do a behavior, good and bad, and you have to create the proper driving force to create the behaviors you want and then reward those consistently instead of waiting for them to manifest. And again, you're always putting out fires. If you have a fire problem in your neighborhood, you shouldn't be building up your fire department. You should be figuring out how to stop lighting matches. Okay, and again, putting a bonker or a reactive or ignoring a problem and then just pretending it's not there is like putting your head in the sand, and that doesn't work either. Pardon me while I get a drink. I talk all day, guys. Boy, my throat goes dry. If you're a client, you're listening, I'm sorry sometimes I get a little hard on words there. It's I talk and talk and talk and talk, and I love it, but it can get hard on the body. Driving in this traffic can get hard on the body, guys, but I'll tell you. All right, let's stay on topic. So I won't use names. I try to really avoid, because I think there's a lot of merit in many other things this person teaches. Personally, I think he's a blowhard. I think he has a lot of this over-explanation to use fancy words and to intimidate people who want to go, toe-to-toe with him intellectually. And again, I just don't even go there because I'm not really great at articulating myself in words when I'm typing it. I'm better at talking it. And I really just don't want to get into it with hundreds and hundreds of this person's cult of supporters or other trainers who've gone to his seminars and love the guy like Santa Claus, and then I'm the bad guy. I just rather just give the information. I have nothing personal. Again, I think he has a lot of stuff, information that has merit. I give him a lot of credit for putting content out there for decades, right? I didn't, he did. But again, I got to call it what it is if you're a dog owner or a trainer or someone who's trying to work on these kind of issues, and this is the only information you get. There's another trainer, the guy with the ponytail. I like him too. I think he's very outspoken, and the actual stuff that he preaches and he speaks, pretty much right to the point about it. It's really good stuff for dog owners to hear what he says. As far as being a little too corrective and too punishment-based, again, I think, and I'm not a purely, you heard me, guys, I am not about babying these dogs. I'm about creating rules. I correct the dog. I use the equipment, e-collars, pinch collars, and all that, but I also know that there's a reason why dogs do what they do. Whether you have to teach your puppy or an adult dog, you have to get to that, and that's what I think this guy does too. It's a little too much accommodating because he's trying to work for regular dog owners who don't have time, patience, or depth of understanding to address these things and go through months and months of a rehabilitation progress. So he's giving some quick fix solutions. And in the grand scheme, I don't think you're creating trauma in the dog. I just think that it could backfire and you're creating limitations as far as the long-term resolution to some of these issues. Boy, it's a hard line to walk on without saying names. And even this guy, ponytail guy, I really like what he does. I like how he talks. I think he's entertaining. I agree with his workshops and all that to a point, I think I refer clients to the guy all the time because I think they can take a bitter piece of what he's teaching and help improve what we're working on, together in our private sessions or one-on-one stuff. So albeit, if you have, if you're listening to this and there's other trainers and you're saying, well, hey, this sounds a little different. Do you see the merit in it? I'll give you my 2 cents. I could be wrong. I don't know. I'm just one person with a limited amount of experience. I have a lot of experience compared to the average dog owner. And I think as far as trainers goes, I've got more hours put in handling dogs professionally than 95% of them. But it's still my experience. There's millions of other dogs and training situations I have not been a part of and I learn something every day. So that's why, hey, even in my Facebook group for my clients, friends and friends of the Dog Savant, I have other trainers who are part of it because I think my clients can benefit from getting, some other information as long as it's on par with, how dogs are dogs, people are people, and seeing what's going on in a reality, rational-based way. Oh, let's see. Okay, let's do some questions. Let's do some Q&A. I hope I made my point about bonkers. If not, oh well. I had to fill some time and I wanted to get another podcast out to you, and it's a topic of discussion in the dog world lately. Okay, dog questions. Pardon me, I'm driving. I have to dig this up here. Okay. Hi, Brett. Love your show. Thank you. It's been great. It's helping me with my work I'm doing with my local balance trainer. Balance training is good. That's the way to go about it. My dog still has limits with dogs as far as who it reacts to. It used to react to every single dog it saw, and now it can pretty much walk peacefully around dogs, but certain dogs that still react to him or get too close too fast still trigger this response. So that's a great question, and it's a good observation because a lot of my clients will go through this. It's not really hard as a problem behavior guy to show a dramatic result day one when you step into a dog that's had something like leash reactivity or just some anxieties tied to life. If you can just demonstrate even some leadership structure and direction, right? It's like almost like, wow, you magically fixed my dog. I'm like, it's not magic. We just set the bar a little bit higher and your dog obliged. Now we got to really do the rehab work. So a lot of times you get a pretty quick response as far as your dog not popping off at every dog they see. You can get a lot closer proximity. They even start accepting other dogs getting close to them or in their space. But then the real work comes when we start building the subtleties, the inch by inch spatial, acceptance, getting a dog to get a dog behind them or over their head, or certain dogs with high energy, teaching your dog to take the high road. That just requires some patience and consistency. And a lot of it is not really changing what you're doing. It's just increasing the intensity and building, just like any kind of thing that you want to improve upon, endurance-wise, strength-wise, learning-wise. It's a slow, day after day improvement on the next, and that's what you have to do with your dog. So really what you got to do is get out frequently. Even if it's 5 minutes a day, get your dog around another dog or similar situation and have them have new acceptance of something that previously they would see as aversive and react to, and now see it for what it is without that negative response, and then you reward that, and then it just keeps building and chaining together where it requires less intervention for a dog to reach these higher levels of acceptance. So you got to stick with it. Sometimes you do see the most dramatic improvement in the first half of training, and then it's just those baby steps. I've lost a lot of weight in my life, and it's the same thing. You can lose 20, 30 pounds like that, right? But those last 5, 10 pounds can take ages or almost feel like they're not even worth the effort. And they are. You just got to push harder to get to the other side of that bridge. Those last few steps are the hardest. So, maybe use this as a motivator. Just realize that this is something that I see often. And you just got to push through it. You have to, again, stay motivated and be really consistent and try to make diligent effort. You're not going to get this done by spending 2 hours on a Saturday at the dog park. You're better doing 5 minutes a day in a dog-enriched environment and let them get exposed to new dogs, new concepts related to whether it be dog socialization, human reactivity, anything, and just keep building that. And your dog will learn how to acclimate, because the beauty of dogs is their nature is to be in a balanced state and content with everyday life. If their basic needs are met, they're not as complicated as we are, so we don't have to overcomplicate it in their presence. Great job. Keep it up. Okay, so that's the Q&A. I always love these questions. Even if it's something you send me personal and you don't want me to answer it on the show, I'll try my best to respond on email or social media. But please keep sending it. It motivates me. It lets me know I'm helping other people and their dogs. If you have something that doesn't make sense, or your local trainer, or something you read online, or the bonker guy, you beg to differ, I would love to have an intelligent, I don't even call it a debate, a discussion as two humans who both mean well and love dogs and want what's best for them without trying to vilify each other as fellow humans and try to, make people feel like they're stupid or lesser than. You have to respect someone's experience, but somebody who has a different take on something and a different experience you may learn from, okay? So that's super important as well. Let's see, just a reminder, please don't forget to subscribe to the show on iTunes. It's the Dog Savant Podcast if you don't know that already. Leave a good rating, leave a review, go on social media at the Dog Savant. On Instagram, it's been really active lately at the Dog Savant. You can go on my website, dogtrainingla.com. If you're local in Los Angeles, I can help you. So reach out to me. You can contact me. We can set up a training session. I also do my weekly group classes in Griffith Park. So if you're a client, please don't forget to come. They're every Saturday, 9 to 10. Drop in. We meet at the corner of Los Feliz Boulevard and Ferndale Drive. Really good supplement to the private training we're doing. And even if you're a client who hasn't been with me for a while, you are welcome. Every client who has ever worked with me, we are working together to help each other. So please come out there and do this. Hate to sound like a motivator, but whatever gets more. We had nice 16 dogs last Saturday. I want to make it bigger. We've got hundreds of people that are invited every week. Let's do this. Again, just get out there with your dog, train your dog, expect more from your dog, teach him something new. I don't want to sound like my little post I do on Instagram, but sometimes this is about being like a personal trainer. You know the motions to take. Now it's about motivating you to actually do them on a regular basis consistently so you can grow and your dog can grow. I do it for myself. I want you to do it for yourselves as well. So thanks, guys. Thanks so much. Have a great day.